quotation first word first sentence come to your mind.
Hidup secukupnya, banyak teman dan tidak ada musuh.
Wow, nice bro. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my podcast. Podcast ini gue buat kalian yang belum tahu, karena gue seneng banget dengerin podcast tentang business stories, tentang interview tokoh-tokoh publik yang inspiratif, tentang self development. Podcast ini gue buat cuma seminggu sekali, interview teman-teman yang sukses di bidang entertainment dan bisnis. Kalau kalian suka, please like and subscribe. Atau paling nggak komen supaya gue semangat bikin terus. Hari ini gue kedatangan temen yang gue ingetnya kenal tahun awal 2000-an. Waktu gue pertama kali pindah Jakarta, bermula dari toko musik kecil Melodia. Ini temen gue ini sudah support dari awal. Bedanya dengan teman-teman yang gue interview sebelum ini, beliau ini selain pengusaha sukses juga musisi plus pernah jadi politikus juga. Mungkin balik lagi nanti. Kita hari ini gue dapat kehormatan interview Emil Abeng. Emil, welcome to my show, bro.
Well,
okay.
An honor.
It's an honor.
An honor. It's an honor.
Sebelum kita mulai, bro, gua mau tanya lu yang gua belum pernah tanya beberapa pertanyaan yang first word or second word come to your mind bisa di-answer dah.
Okay. We'll try. Apa? You want me to ask?
No, I'll ask you.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
Gitar favorit?
Gitar favorit PRS.
PRS, okay. Ampli favorit?
Diesel.
Diesel,
Yeah.
okay. Gitaris favorit?
So many.
Just one. First one.
The first one that comes to my mind, Keith Richards.
Keith Richards,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Santana, no.
Well, I like him too.
Okay. Toko bisnis favorit?
Business, I would say so many also, but
First
the
word.
first one that I would say Jack Welch.
Jack Welch, GE.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
GE,
Okay, number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oke, kalau moto sukses lu apa? Quotation first word first sentence come to your mind.
Hidup secukupnya, banyak teman dan tidak ada musuh.
Wow, nice bro. Oke. Bro, ini podcast, Mil. Kita mau belajar dari lu nih. Paling biasanya gua selalu awali dari pendidikan kan, dari awal-awal.
Sure.
I read a lot of your bios. Lu banyak besar di luar, betul nggak? Is that right?
Betul.
Yeah.
Betul. Yeah.
You went to high school in Florida.
Yeah, actually SD pun I was already in Buffalo, New York. Yeah.
SD pun.
So kebetulan ayah saya dia ditugaskan ke New York.
Oke.
Dia pikir wah ini Emil belum sekolah kan?
With government or?
Oh no, he was working with Union Carbide at that time.
Union Carbide. Okay.
So dia bawa saya dan sekalian dititipin aja ke keluarga. Kita punya keluarga Amerika gitu.
Oh, oke.
Kebetulan dan
Bule.
Bule yang ngangkat ayah saya juga waktu itu.
Oke.
So dia titipin aja, you stay here for a year, learn English.
Really?
Saya nggak tahu bahasa Inggris satu kata pun.
You and Edwin or just
me.
Wow.
And then I came back. My English is like American already. Gitu, ya kan?
Oke.
Ya, so kenapa banyak di luar negeri? Karena mengikuti
Your dad?
Karir bapak saya.
Oke.
So Singapore, SD sempat di Singapura.
Tapi if you follow your dad, kenapa nggak tinggal sama your dad? Why?
No, because dia kan keliling, ya.
Okay.
Dia traveling a lot dan itu susah untuk education ya. To change.
Why New York?
When or what?
Why
New York? Well, my father kebetulan Union Carbide was in New York City.
Okay.
So dia paling dekat adalah Buffalo, New York, di mana tempat orang
that's why.
Angkatnya ya.
Okay. So New York lalu gue baca juga lu pernah ke Singapura dulu atau Florida dulu?
Singapura dulu.
Okay.
So I was in Union Carbide, pusat sales and marketingnya tuh di Singapura for all of
Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific and Timur Tengah.
Oh, okay.
So that's where he was put, and then I went to the Singapore American School.
Okay.
Karena belum ada sekolah Indonesia at that time.
Yeah. Okay. So high school in Florida, right?
High school, yes, in Florida. Jadi gini, sempat juga SMP di Jakarta, di Tarakanita.
Oh, iya.
And then kelas 3 SMP saya langsung move to Florida.
Because your dad?
No, that's another thing.
Oh, okay.
Because my brother, adikku Edwin was a tennis player kan.
Oh, okay.
So my family put him to a tennis school
In Florida?
in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Supaya saya dekat, saya ke Florida juga gitu. So
dari kecil udah traveling all over the world ya?
all over the world. Like I don't know how many passports I have semenjak kecil gitu. It was very fortunate to look at and study other people.
Biasanya anak-anak kalau pindah-pindah sekolah itu kan susah, temennya susah kan?
Yeah.
But you find it enjoyable for you?
We're very fortunate that kita selain we like to make friends, people that we meet juga adalah orang yang baik, sangat baik. You know, we go to Florida. Bagusnya they never met anyone from Indonesia. So they're very intuitive. Mereka pengen tahu. But in general, Americans are very nice people. Very nice people.
Iya. Itu tahun berapa tuh high school tuh ya?
Wow.
80 something, right?
Yeah, 80. I think 86, 87. You know.
From high school, you moved back to Indonesia first atau enggak?
No. From high school, I went straight to university in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, okay.
Why Buffalo, New York is my father's alma mater juga.
Makanya gue lihat kok State University of New York at Buffalo, right?
SUNY Buffalo, that's right. University of Buffalo.
Okay, betul. And your dad went there too, right?
He went there, so ada kebanggaannya dia juga, anaknya terusin gitu kan ke sana.
Okay. That's around early 90s, right?
I started I think 88.
Okay.
Yeah, 88
ya. Jadi from your dad ya, Pak Tanri required you. Pokoknya lu harus ikut ke State University atau enggak?
Enggak. Well, I wanted, actually ada funny story. I did well in art when I was in high school.
What specifically? Drawing atau apa? Gambar?
Drawing, designs, you know. I wasn't bad in the others, yeah. Apparently I got a partial scholarship to NYU.
Oh,
you know?
NYU.
But for arts. So I told my, you know, of course saya daftar untuk universitas lain. And I got accepted at Buffalo, New York. But I told my father, hey, I have a partial scholarship nih, NYU.
No way.
And he goes, for what? I said, art. Okay, well, congratulations, dia bilang. But that's partial, right? Dia bilang, okay, the rest you bayar sendiri. You know, of course, I couldn't do it. You know, apalagi living in New York City. It's okay. You know, but I was happy to go to Buffalo.
Yeah. Okay, Mil, with your father ya, being a big legend ya, professional ya. Masa sih? I heard the story. I read somewhere juga. Lu harus cari uang sendiri, nggak boleh minta. Is that true?
Oh well, I think that is true. I think it's we were brought up seperti itu. You know, my American family ini yang dulu angkat my father. You know, I have to tell you the story about my father ini dulu was an AFS student, American Field Service, artinya exchange students.
Okay. Oh, exchange student, okay.
Ya, nah itu kan hanya untuk kelas 3 SMA. Hanya 1 tahun balik. But the family, the American family, their name is the Gibsons. Okay, the Gibsons itu when they got my father, they fell in love with him. They fell in love looking at his culture. You know, my father prays 5 times a day. You know, so they automatically fell in love with him. And then dia balik ke Indonesia, ke Unhas untuk selesaiin kuliahnya.
Sulawesi ya?
In Makassar.
Okay.
And then after that, you know, mereka kangen gitu. And I think at the time it was a situation di mana PKI lagi di Indonesia around 66, 67 gitu ya.
Okay.
So the American family was so worried about him. Diminta to get him to
New York.
Now, at that time, America did not want anybody coming from
Indonesia.
Communist or influenced countries. So my American grandmother, his wrote a letter to the Senate until the president supaya dia bisa dibawa ke Amerika.
Gitu.
So coming back again to your question adalah about earning and not getting it for free. We live with a middle income family.
Bukan rich family, bukan
not rich.
Okay.
So if I wanted money, I had to mow the lawn, potong rumput, ikut bersihin. But that
deliver newspaper or not?
I guess I was too young at that time.
Okay.
Ya kan. Tapi mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest thing about American values is that you have to work that you know how it feels, how hard it is to
hustle ya.
That's right.
Ya. Lu juga waktu itu gua baca you have to use bicycle ya, nggak motor ya. Teman-teman motor kan.
Ini kuliah aja, my father is not a stingy man, but he's very practical gitu ya. I live in a dorm, why do I need a car? So I was thinking maybe I should live outside the dorm so I can get a car. So I got an apartment, but it was not far from the campus.
Ya, ngapain lu beli mobil ya?
And I asked my father, okay, I need a transportation to go. You know what? He sent me a bicycle. I said, I thought a car. Well, it's a transportation. So he's very practical. Okay. So we have to understand what the meaning of life and hard work.
Okay. Biasanya teman-teman yang sudah di luar negeri lama ya, kebanyakan sudah nyaman di luar, nggak mau balik. Why you came back?
Well, several things. I think most of my lifetime and my brother's lifetime, we're always away from our parents. Yeah. So salah satu adalah kita kangen. We want to live, to be close to our parents. I felt that ada jarak terlalu jauh with my father, him being busy, and my mom being alone. Number one. Tapi in terms of future, what our future is, I've always believed Indonesia was at the best point to start work.
Okay, early 90s.
Early 90s. I got back, I think, 93. Yeah. Actually, Indonesia was a land of opportunity while it was not there. You did not have a lot of multinational companies as now. So I thought that this is a good training ground. If you can do something in Indonesia, you can do it anywhere. But I've always thought that you have to work. Your basic education is not enough. You have to build up your skills. True. And there's a lot of opportunity in Indonesia at the time.
Waktu balik pertama itu gua ingatnya lu ya, waktu kita pertama kali kenal ya. Correct me if I'm wrong. Waktu itu gua ingat fragment ada Matabar, ada Bondan, Van Hop. Then I met you in Bubu office ya.
That's right.
You started first with Bubu atau gimana?
No. 93. It was foolish of me, and maybe a lot of people thought that it would be easy for me to get a job because my father could get me a job.
Of course.
Excuse me, but what he said is, I said, hey Dad, I'm back, I'm ready to work. Well, that's great. Go apply and find yourself a job. Yes.
Bukan your dad pick up call.
No. So I went, gue nganggur juga maybe about 6 months,
6 months, okay.
Because, there was not a lot of graduates dari States, and what position can I give you? And I did not have, lu mau lulusan luar negeri juga, mau MBA, tapi kalau tidak punya pengalaman, nggak ada gunanya. So I applied. I got a job at a Tricom, which is a public relations company.
Okay.
Bagusnya they're American outfit.
Okay.
So I have good communication with them, and then I opened up communications with other. So it's a lot of corporate, termasuk Citibank.
Okay, termasuk Citibank. That's 93.
90, I think it was 93, 94. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was in Citibank Surabaya 94.
Yes, you told me.
Yeah. Okay. Lalu dari situ lu ke kemana, bro?
Okay. So I was trying to find my way. I wanted to know what fits me, what I like. So an opportunity came. Waktu itu ada APEC Summit.
Okay, APEC.
Ya kan, itu Bill Clinton sempat datang ke
Indonesia ya.
Ke Indonesia kan. So they were looking for kids that can communicate in English and organize communication. So I had a very good experience di sana.
Okay. And you become the head liaison.
Liaison, communications. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Lalu lu juga jadi managing partner for Asian region for what is this restaurant?
I don't know if you remember this restaurant called Fuddruckers. It's an American gourmet hamburger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what type of burger you make it, but you top it up yourself. Yeah.
Do you have it here before? Do you have
Well, I'll tell you. My partners and I, we were very fortunate to get the franchise for all of ASEAN.
Oh.
And I was a managing partner. They put me in operations. But the problem was that was 96 to 97, 98 crisis, right?
Oh, okay.
Now we had to import all those meats.
Impossible with the currency.
400%. I mean, yang hamburgernya 20.000 becomes 80.000. Who's gonna pay?
Yeah.
So we had to close it down.
Oh,
we had to close it down. But kita
you had the outlets in Jakarta.
Sempat satu di Kelapa Gading.
Oh, okay.
Kelapa Gading, yeah.
Okay. Not a good timing then.
It was not a good timing. I mean, this is what we're learning also.
Yeah. And then after that, lu ke Bubu.
After that, our partners, one of my partner, Arya Witular, asked me to come in, and it was, I think, the beginning of the internet, right?
Yeah.
But at that time, the infrastructure was not ready, right?
Yeah.
But we had great ideas. We started from web designs. We started with other, consultancy, and I was into music, so I set up a website also called musikita.com.
Oh, musikita.com, yeah.
So
that's the one.
for information, and then I also had one for education called Mailkita.
Mailkita, okay.
.com.
So what's the connection of Bubu and Musikita?
Well, we all have partnership in. We all have shares in that, and I think the combination Musikita and Mailkita could not have expanded also if I did not use the backbone of Bubu.
Oh, okay.
So it was an incubation actually between investment, IT, education, and music.
Okay. Bubu was founded by you or Sinta?
No, Sinta found that, and she's still going strong now.
Still in Bubu.
Yes, but I'm a very, very minority, so I'm not a managing partner, but maybe an advisor, in a sense.
But you guys were early at the time, yeah? Sangat early.
We were early, and saya salut sama Sinta, and she's still in the game. People would just leave. And at that time, there was no angel funds, there were no venture capital, So dari tabungan kita lah.
Oh, okay. Waktu periode 94 ke 2000-an, you're in the music, right?
Well, music is, I'm never in music totally.
Sampingan.
It's always a hobby.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes I love my hobby too much. I forget about other things.
Yeah.
But work has to be number one priority. Music, jeleknya family yang terkadang. Ini.
So podcast ini kan podcast ini kan nggak tentang kesuksesan doang. Sometimes the beginning, the fall.
Right.
Lo gua rasa dari musik lo kenal drugs berarti mungkin.
I know you're going to ask that question. I'll be very open. I think not only business, not only music,
entertainment,
not even entertainment. I mean, yes, I fell into the world of drugs, but very briefly. That was, I think, 2003. So because kebetulan.
You got bored? Gimana?
Well, I have to be honest. I was in a state that I was not happy. I was not happy with personal things, and then there's also a situation where the curiosity mau coba-coba.
Oh, okay.
But I have to be honest. I was mencoba-coba. I was nggak sempat addicted.
Yeah.
But I was
caught.
But the hikmah into that is that to show me, hey. Here's a warning for you.
Okay.
Hey, you've got a family.
Hey,
you've got a business. So I think if I have not done that or have not been caught, maybe it's another turn that we don't want.
You can also not teach your daughters about this.
Exactly.
Lo 3 bulan di Cipinang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, waiting for court date.
Waduh. Wow.
Yeah, but that's I have to tell you, itu pengalaman yang nggak semua orang dapat.
Pasti. Wow, man, scary, man.
Yeah, but at least we're here, live to tell, and get people.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But so it's not necessarily music yang make lu.
No. I'm not blaming music. There's a lot of good musicians. And musicians that don't have that. You know.
Lu dari, gua remember in that period ya. Jadi guys, gua kenal Emil Abeng waktu itu di Matabar juga waktu itu.
Yeah, right.
So you were active in club and restaurant business?
Sebenarnya Matabar is kind of like an accident. Karena remember I had that Fuddruckers hamburger.
Yeah.
So we had kitchen equipments.
Oh, okay.
So we're saying, what are we going to do with this kitchen equipment? You know, kan sayang. So we got it also with a couple of our friends and said, hey, let's use this to make a lounge. You know, something that have eat. Itu di WTC.
WTC,
right?
Okay.
So it was an ex-Red Lobster type of restaurant.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's convert this. You know, so we started as a restaurant. And then tiba-tiba, hey, let's put a DJ. A DJ booth, you know?
Yeah.
Taruh DJ. Hey, let's do a ladies' night on Wednesday. Blue Duck.
Yeah.
You know? So that it was the start of what we call Matabar.
Oh, Matabar. Okay. You had it for how many years?
Well, we had a good streak for almost 5 years.
Okay.
And then I said, hey, you know, we got to get out of the game. Now, my younger brother
Edwin
did not have, he thought it was not enough. So dia buka lagi because our rent udah nggak mau diperpanjang.
Okay.
So dia pindahin ke STC di Senayan, you know that building, the old building. Yeah. So he opened up, but you know it did not last too long. The investment was just not there. Yeah.
All right. Mir, kita bahas your timeline. Fuddruckers, right? After Fuddruckers, you make gua terpaksa pakai cheat sheet nih.
Ya, nggak apa.
Lu ke Bubu.
Right.
Tapi before that, you have also you make retail outlets. What is that?
Okay.
SEI.
It was an idea of ours in I think mid '90s. Juga, it was my father's idea. You know, one of the what we do in business has to do something with life. It has to do, you know, either it's health, education, food. Now, retail was one of the things that distribute food.
Okay.
Now, my father's idea was, hey, you know, these all over the world they have these retail convenience stores. Why don't we start, but have our own name?
Okay.
You know, kenapa? Why do we have to go to 7-Eleven, AM, PM? We can do it ourselves. Yeah. Kan? So we named it Aci, Aku Cinta Indonesia.
Oh, that's why. Okay, Aci. Okay.
And then, but you know,
tapi nggak sukses.
Well, it's not. It was not what we envisioned.
Okay.
Yeah. Success was there, but we just could not keep up. Now, this convenience store actually is not a convenience store business. It's actually a real estate business.
Oh, yeah, real estate, that's true.
You know, by the end of the day, it's the location. And by the end of the day, you know, you have to rent. Rental is what, 3 to 5 years up front.
Yeah.
You know, so we cannot keep up with that. So itu memang perlu a lot of capital investment, and also it needs scale sekaligus. Because your procurement yang sets your margins better.
Right.
So what we did was we just diversified, and then we let the outlets be franchised alone. You know.
Okay. Ini you open it from 99 to 2006, right?
Right.
Itu mungkin awal-awal Alfamart, Indomaret gitu mungkin.
Yeah, actually we were one of the first ones. I think yang dulu sempat datang it was 7-Eleven was the first. You know, it was in Melawai at that time. Yeah. But they had to shut down, and then they have to come back again, and they shut down again. So it needs scale. But it's still a good prospect, I think. You know, anything to do with food, health, education.
Okay. So you went to retails, clubs, and then you also went to ini kan the Finergy Boga Mandiri itu restaurant, club, lounge kan?
Right.
And then you went to internet business Bubu.
Yeah. Okay. After that,
After that, you made Wali Nusa Energy.
Yeah, I think Wali Nusa Energy is one of my my proudest moment because
Why?
I did this by myself without family.
Apa ini, Mil? Walinusa Energy
Okay,
ini apa?
Walinusa Energy is actually an energy investment company. So what we do, we're non-technical, but we look at opportunities of where the energy investments come. They could be long-term investments, short-term investments.
Apa, seperti VC?
Okay.
Atau-
Okay. So how Walinusa Energy started was I was not what do you call an oil and gas guy. So what I did was I read on what others did in the United States. Was I started in incubation. So what I did was I did not know energy. I pulled my friends that know energy.
Okay.
Yeah, so one guy is in the power generation, artinya buat power plant. One guy is gas. One guy is EPC.
Okay.
Now, so what I did, I said, hey guys, look, I want to set up something. I think if we get together, we can accelerate faster.
Okay.
Yeah, kan? So I said to one of my partners in the power generation, you come in, all right? I cannot pay you, but I give you an office. I can pay your staff, and then when the project comes, we share that project.
Perfect. Okay.
So that was the incubation. So we had in our first couple of years, we won 2 tenders for power plants. We had a gas allocation. We had what do you call an EPC business infrastructure for oil and gas.
Okay.
So that was one of my proudest achievement, and it's still going on now.
Okay, but
Yeah.
okay. In your resume, it's only until 2009.
Now, most of the things in my resume from stops at 2009.
Why? Oh yeah, DPR.
So
Okay.
when I entered DPR,
DPR,
the
okay.
parliament, I wanted to make sure that I have no conflict of interest.
Okay.
In DPR, I was in Commission 6,
Yeah.
which had oil and gas.
Nanti juga,
It
yeah,
has
yeah.
this.
Conflict
I
of
just
interest, yeah.
I wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
don't have a conflict of interest.
Okay. Why, Mil? After all this business, kenapa lo masuk ke politik? Ngapain? Why?
Well, this is interesting also. I've been blessed. Our family's been blessed. I've worked for multinational companies. I work for national companies. I work for my family company. So I've been working for only certain people. What I wanted to do is how can I contribute back to the people as secara luas,
Okay.
and that is you have to be a member of
Politics.
parliament representing my
Makassar,
area,
Sulawesi. Okay.
So
Komisi 6 ya waktu itu ya?
Komisi 6, that's right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
itu ada perindustrian, perdagangan, BKPM, everything. And the biggest thing was state-owned enterprise,
Okay.
which my father was a minister.
Oh yeah.
So I learned a lot because he set the roadmap for that. So it was very interesting for me. Yeah.
Okay. Will that be something that you want to repeat again atau enggak? Lu mau ulangin lagi nggak? Lu mau balik?
Maybe. Well, DPR is legislative.
Okay.
Maybe I've tried the legislative what do you call work, but there's also the executive.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So maybe I'm not keen into politics now, but to help the country, yes. If I can sumbang what I have, I would love to do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think anytime soon I want to go back to the parliament. Let the younger generation do that.
Oh, okay.
kan?
Yeah. But the younger generation doesn't necessarily have the clout.
Well,
Yeah,
they may not have the interest. We don't know. Nggak kayak dulu.
Maybe your daughters.
Yeah, well, if they love it,
Yeah.
you have
Jadi,
to love it.
Jadi lu off from business about 5 years karena di
Exactly.
DPR.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I'm not conflicting with anything.
Okay.
So I let my partners be the helm.
Okay.
Yeah, they communicate and they get
Okay.
my advice.
Yeah. Tapi lu representing Golkar ya?
Yes.
Golkar. Lu
Golkar.
you were in the Golkar think tank namanya apa?
Oh, Balitbang Golkar, which is badan penelitian, kan?
Okay.
So what we do is, the good thing about Golkar is very organized. They have think tank, they have education, they have seni, they have everything,
Okay. Okay.
So kita bukan hanya partai yang hanya sebagai partai, but we have to contribute. And where's the economy going?
Okay.
What's going to happen?
Sekarang masih di Golkar?
As a non-active member. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Alright. Okay. So from that you go to Tason Holding.
Now, So after that, after Parliament, I said, okay, istirahat dulu deh. So Tazon Holding is a family holding.
Okay, Tanri Abeng and Sons.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to consolidate all our investments. You know, because you have to understand, we've never had a family company. My father was a pure professional.
Yes.
You know, I never, but along the way, you know, we've had investments with our different companies with partners, and they seem not to what do you call kurang berhasil. So we said, look, let me take over. I become majority, but I will manage it.
Oh, okay.
You see,
so it's not 100% owned by you and your
the holding company, yes, but under the holding sub-holdings, right?
Okay.
Now sub-holdings, we have distribution. We distribute Aqua, beer, Unilever products. We also have plantations. We are also in energy. Yeah, and then of course we've got other investments that are.
Investment meaning like VC or not? Venture capital, atau bukan?
No. We don't have that enough money for to become a VC, and I think it's more of a personal, a private investment that we do, and most of our investment are long term.
Mil, dulu berapa tahun lalu, the last time I met you, last time we met in West Century City, LA ya?
Yeah, that's right.
Sebelum itu gue ingat waktu ngomong-ngomong, you were only in mostly in distribution logistic, right?
Right.
And sekarang investment, energy, plantation, perkebunan ya, distribution logistic of course. Nggak bingung manage industri berbeda gitu.
Coming back again, you have to understand that, and these companies we've had for 40 years, but it was managed by our partners. Jadi, if it wasn't doing well, it says, okay, why don't you back down? We'll manage it. But actually, nggak banyak. You have distribution, plantation, and energy, right? And you have to understand, we are investment holding, so we're non-operating. Right? So what we see is, let's say, the distribution and logistics, we make sure that we communicate well with the management so that we hit the targets that we want, and how can we support. So actually we don't go
operation.
No. So we let the professionals do the operation. So we manage portfolios basically, but it's private portfolio.
Alright. Kalau gue lihat di sini juga education, so that means Tanri Abeng University.
That is my father's dream, our family's dream. We support him.
Building legacy, yeah.
I think the best legacy is to leave something that means a lot. Let it be university, let it be hospital, let it be mosque, a church. That is something that we, our family's attitude towards this is, hey, you can be rich, you can be, but you don't leave anything. What's life for?
So ini Tanri Abeng University baru started this year?
No. Tanri Abeng University almost I think 2009.
Sorry.
Almost 10
years. Because I just saw it on Instagram, right?
Right.
Dengan Raffi.
Education is also a tough business. You cannot expect to open up a university. Habis itu besok udah ada 1,000 anak. It's not. It's heavily marketing intensive. It's very competitive.
But you're in operation.
No. Once again, I sit in the yayasan. Yayasan owns the. So I have to make sure that this legacy keeps going on.
Mil, along this your long career ya, lu kan high achiever juga. Insist that's your father set up you to be, karena Emil lu harus gini.
No, I'll be honest with you. My father's not that at all.
Masa?
He is not demanding a.
Your school is also the same with your dad.
but the good thing about my father is that he and I understand I can never be like him, but he's not me. You'll never be happy if it's not what you want. So people compare us. Maybe I've done the same path to become a professional, but now I'm an entrepreneur. And that's. But my father is very liberal in this thing. But he just wants to make sure, jangan pernah tipu orang. Because your name is more important. The legacy is more. That's the most expensive asset that you have. Yeah, kan?
Yeah.
But I've been very proud of him and not forcing me. But discipline, discipline.
Waktu gua lulus early 90, about the same. You got back 93, 94. I got back 94.
Right.
Everyone like looking at your debt, right? Manager 1 miliar. Wah, everyone wants to be.
I didn't see that 1 miliar. I don't know where it went.
Oh gitu. Okay. So. Buat gua kayak beliau itu kayak Peter Drucker personified.
Right.
Lu learn a lot from him atau?
Well, maybe over 50% of what I know I learned from him.
Wow.
I'm very fortunate, to be his son, where he can be talking about business with people, and I'm next to him.
Okay.
You know, that's your MBA.
Okay.
Untuk apa ambil MBA lagi? Lu udah ada orang yang praktis. MBA is like, sitting with people and learning, right? So I'm very fortunate, and his philosophy in business, his what do you call kepemimpinan is very, very good. Yeah.
Okay. So kalau kita generasi berbeda dengan sekarang, bro. We are more into old school, right? Sekarang kan millennial, internet business, everyone
Are you
wants
still
valuation.
millennial? Come on, you look.
Enggak.
I think you
We're
can
old
pass.
school lah. We're old school lah, bro. Nah, what do you think? What do you advice apa yang lu bisa kasih ke young entrepreneurs now? Kan everything change. Everyone seems to be like going to business, make startup, high valuation, exit.
Yeah.
Different dengan our era.
Saya tuh bangga dengan Indonesia. Kita hanya disayangkan telat aja memiliki infrastruktur. During our times, sempat TV hanya TVRI, di situ hanya RCTI. Kita anak-anak kita pintar dari Surabaya sampai sini, dari anak PL kan, it's just very, very smart. But disayangkan our education itu lebih baik di luar at that time. Ya kan? So my advice, sebenarnya kita tuh bisa melebihi semua negara di ASEAN. We are very hardworking people, we are very nice people, we are very smart people. Tapi dulu tidak ada infrastrukturnya. You know what I'm saying, now for the next generation millennials, I think the sky is the limit. There should not be, tidak boleh ada yang people telling you, oh, that's where it is. Now this is different juga. Bahwa sekolah di luar negeri, I think you know this, is antara hard skill and soft skill. You go to Palo Alto, hard skill itu gampang ini, but soft skillnya justru, that's why America is always the lead innovative country in the world. Why? Because they let them do what what is your dream? How could it happen? And it's supported. Dreams are from soft skillnya, not from hard skill. Kita kan dulu disuruh hafal aja. Padahal there's more to that. So the next generation, we're very thankful that IT sekarang there's no barriers across the world. Tapi I would like to see kalau bisa satu hari anak Indonesian products yang dibanggakan keluar. Korea. Nothing compared to Indonesia, nggak ada natural resources, nggak ada apa, but they work hard in branding their entertainment. Of course their cars, their apa. Now we should anak-anak muda kita yang bisa membawa kita keluar dan membanggakan kita. So I should open to anything. Of course within the law and norms. I can't tell you what specific thing, but I think with the openness of communication, Indonesia will be one of the hopefully top 10 world to contribute to something new in an era.
So Mil, lo sekarang jadi CEO-nya Tencent Holdings. You've been in politics, you've done music too. Lo masih kurang apa? Yang bagi lo
retire?
Retire. Oh man.
No, I think my job is not done. I still have I still have to concentrate in our investment company. Minimum, it has to be a sustaining business. I have my motivation adalah my karyawan. I want to make sure that they also have enough to live and they can prosper. Gitu.
Also you got your daughters too, ya mungkin ya?
Well, again, I think I'm gonna leave it like my father. As long as you're happy, you do what you want, but do it well and love what you do.
Okay.
Ya kan?
Nice. Any parting advice during this difficult time for our viewers? Apa advice tuh? Difficult time for us.
I think this difficult time, saya selalu melihatnya ini sebagai a blessing in disguise.
How come?
Ya, well gini, let's take education ya. Dulu waktu tidak ada pandemi, kita bisa keluar. Now with this pandemic, we have more time to learn. And there is, from internet you can learn more. Zaman kita dulu belum ada internet. Cari buku ini aja sekolah susahnya bukan main. Remember that? Kalau kita dapat juga ini edisi tahun kelima dibanding luar negeri. So that's one thing. Education bisa. Learning sebenarnya the biggest thing is that I think the young generation should understand to love Earth even more. Ini mestinya kita lihat. It's a reset button. Exactly. Well, I was talking to you earlier bahwa don't be pessimistic, but just don't be overly optimistic also.
Okay.
When if they find a vaccine, a vaccine is only a contagion. It's not a cure. Yeah. But vaccine will motivate people to start working. But you have to understand, I don't think it's going to be sometime soon.
Maybe next year, probably.
Minimum end of next year or 2022. That's what I see.
Really.
But I hope for the best, especially for Indonesia and the world. For all of us, business. But in times like this is the time when we are pressed to become more innovative.
Yes, that's true.
It will come. But ini pembelajaran juga. Ayo berhemat. Kan terkadang spending spree gitu. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, Mil, we come to the end of it. So thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate.
Guys, kalau lu suka, please sekali lagi like and subscribe or comment supaya gue punya motivasi untuk nerusin podcast ini, belajar dari teman-teman hebat seperti Pak Emil Lampeng ini.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, bro.